We're starting. Okay. We're talking today with Will Holton of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the interviewer is James Smither of the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project. Okay. Now, Will, can you start us off with some background on yourself, and to begin with, where and when were you born?
I was born in Crockett County, Tennessee, and
Your date of birth?
January the 1919.
Very good.
And
And how long did you live there?
when I was 4 years old, my parents went to Blyville, Arkansas,
Okay.
and they stayed in Blyville, Arkansas till I was 14.
Okay.
Then
Now, all right. And so at that time, when you were in Arkansas, what was your family doing for a living?
a farmer.
Okay.
Oh, we were farmer.
All right. And did you rent land or did you own land?
Well, before we went to Arkansas, okay, my father was raised by Ollie Loud and Buck Loud. So far as I know, I'm just going by what I'm told, because I don't know.
Right.
You know, he owned, like, he was their child, so he run things. So I said, when I was 4 years old, then he left and went to Arkansas. He stayed there 10 years, then we come right back to where I was there.
Okay.
And I stayed there until I was 16. Then we went to Alamo. That's the county, the biggest town in there, in Crockett County. Then I started work for the county,
Okay. Now, how much schooling did you have?
10th grade.
Okay. And so, and then you said you started working for the county.
At 19 years old.
Okay. And what work were you doing?
Back then they had what they called the WPA. And so you wasn't supposed to get on WPA till you was 20 years old, but I got married when I was 18 years old. Before I got married, I signed up. They had a program that's called you work 2 days and you go to school 3 days. That's what I signed up for. But I got married before the card come back. When it come back, it said the WPA. So my daddy didn't sign up for something on WPA.
All right.
So they had to, I wasn't old enough, but means I was married, and they had to let me work. So they give me I was a water boy till there was a man, a white guy knows my parents. He seen after the tractors and things. When he found out I was, then I worked with him to gas up the tractors and calipers and put new tracks on and everything. And so I worked there 3 years. Then after they cut out, I went to Paris, Tennessee, and they were building an army camp. And I worked up there all winter. When that job well played out, I come back to Alamo. Then I went to work at the fence plant at Milan.
All right.
And then I worked there till my wife died. Then about 6 months after my wife died, then I had to go to the army.
Okay. You got a draft notice then. Okay. Do you remember how you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I heard about Pearl Harbor after I got out the army.
Okay. So when that happened, you didn't have
Pearl Harbor. Oh yeah.
the attack. Yeah.
Pearl Harbor. I said they bombed Pearl Harbor in '41, and I was at home then. In '42, I went to the army. I thought you were talking about the atomic bomb.
No, that comes
I
later.
heard about that after I got out the army.
Right. Okay. Now, when the war started, did you expect that you would have to go in the army, or did you think that because you had a family to take care of and everything else, they'd leave you alone?
But tell you the truth, I just didn't really think nothing about it at all.
Okay. Did you notice other people getting drafted or going off? Okay. All right. Now, when they drafted you, How did that work? Did they send you a letter or?
There. Well, see, I live right there in the town,
Okay.
and so I passed the gravel board. I was right there at the gravel board.
Oh, okay. So you're right there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
So they just know, they didn't have to send me the letter, they just called me in,
Okay.
because they all know.
All right. Say, Will, you're going in the Army now.
So they just called me in, give me a piece of paper, then I read it and told what time to be at the, draft boards.
Okay. Now, where did they send you for the first part of your training?
Fort Benning, Georgia,
Okay. And then how did they get you to Fort Benning?
on the train.
Okay. All right.
From home, I caught the bus to Jackson, Tennessee. Then from Jackson, Tennessee, they got the train to Fort Benning, Georgia.
All right. Now, this is 1940s, and the South is still segregated. So did you have to ride on the back of a bus or in a separate train car, or?
Well, that's, a lot of folks said that, but at time at Tennessee, I never rode the bus.
Okay.
I never went nowhere. When I would go, I just sat wherever I wanted, because I never rode the bus. You
All
know, I've heard a lot of people talk about that, but see, in Crockett County in Tennessee, like I heard some say Jim Crow, I never experienced it.
So this is just sort of small towns and small communities, and
Yeah.
people know each other.
Well, no, I don't say they love each other.
Yeah,
I just say
yeah.
I never experienced it. I don't know what the other folks did.
Right.
Around my hometown, most of the people that knowed me, a lot of them say I didn't have real good sense.
All right. Okay.
Because I guess I like this, I said to her, the white people raised my daddy. Well, in that town, I would help, I didn't care whether you were white or black, I didn't see color, I see person. I don't care what color you is, if you're nice, I'd be nice. But if you wasn't nice, I wouldn't be nice.
That makes sense. All right. Okay. Well, now you've gone and joined the Army. Now, and you get to Fort Benning, and what happens there?
Well, I said that it's from there to Camp Shanks, Alabama.
Well, but talk a little bit about the training at Fort Benning. What did you learn there?
Well, I said you do infantry training.
Yeah.
Learn how to shoot a gun, lay out at night, and sleep in the blankets and things. Just Army.
Okay. And then, but they also have to teach you how to follow orders and how to march and those kinds of things.
Well, I got most of that after hit. They didn't teach too much what they got to Camp Shanks, Alabama.
Okay.
That's where you turn to main training.
Okay.
At Fort Benning, Georgia, they just, they give you a little to keep you upside. You just didn't sit around in the bag.
Okay.
But Camp Shanks, Alabama, then they start you doing the real training. You lay out at night and sleep in shelter areas. And then when you got to Texas, then they issue you a rifle. Then you go to bed at night, you had to keep the rifle in the bed with you. You couldn't move, but if you caught you moving without your rifle, you got extra duty.
Do you know where you were in Texas?
They said West Texas, but I don't forget what camp it was.
All right. Well, there were a lot of camps. There was Fort Bliss was in El Paso, that area, or do you think you weren't that far over?
Well, all I know is it was around Abilene.
Okay. So, okay.
I don't know what name of the camp.
All right. Well, there were a lot of them. So, okay. but actually, somebody could, researching that, could look that up and maybe figure that out.
That was around Abilene, Texas.
Okay. Now, were all of the men, was this an all-black unit that you were training with?
We had a guy named Edward Laurent. We had a couple of white guys. Well, let's say it like this. When they come to the state, they see us as white. But see, they Frenchmen. When they're back in France, they see us as Africa. So now what they was, I don't know.
All right. But the Army itself was segregated, so you would get put into an all-black unit.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Now, the people who were, the drill instructors, the guys who were training you, how did they treat you?
Well, they was black.
Okay.
We had the captain and most of the lieutenant, most of them was all white. But they didn't train you.
Right.
The first sergeant and the sergeant and staff sergeant, all them wasn't trained you.
Okay. Yeah. So the non-coms were black.
Huh?
So the non-commissioned officers, the sergeants and the corporals, those were black.
Right.
Okay. So they're training you. Now, how did they treat you?
Well, they were really nice. Like I said, in the Army, I wasn't really that nice because I was trying to get a dishonorable discharge.
Now,
But I said they treated me nice. We have a few little friction. I said, they asked me a couple of times that I have good sense, but
well, what were you doing to try to get a discharge?
some orders I wouldn't follow.
Okay.
Like if they put me on extra duty, some duties I do, some I wouldn't. And they said they're gonna put you in the guardhouse, and I don't care. So they,
So did they put you in the guardhouse?
no, they wouldn't.
All right.
I said the captain asked me. I was corporal of the guard, and I had an apartment in town. So when you go on guard at 5 o'clock in the evening, you can't get off till 5 o'clock the next evening. But when I took my men off of guard at 5 o'clock in the morning, I asked the first sergeant, I had an apartment in town, and I just want to go, something I want to go get. And I asked him, could I go? He said, no. I told him I'm going anyhow. So he told the captain. Captain called me in the office. I went in the office, saluted him. He said, did you tell the sergeant you're going to town? Yeah. He said, don't you know you could be court-martial? I said, yeah. Is you going? Yeah. If I give you a pass, will you go and come back and make a good soldier? Yeah. I just wanted an hour, but he gave me a 12-hour pass. But I was going in a house.
Okay, sure. That'll help. Okay, so maybe you were actually good at your job.
Oh yeah, I said.
Okay. Now, were you when you were in Texas? Were you now training as an engineer unit?
No, truck driver.
A truck driver at this point. Okay.
I got this somewhere. I trained down there as a truck driver.
Okay. But were you now training with a unit that you would serve with overseas, or had you not joined them yet?
No.
Okay, so this is just general training still.
When they sent me from Alabama, they take so many, after you train this, so, 18 weeks or night, I forget how. Then they bust us up, and they put you where they think they need you.
Right.
You know, you didn't, I guess I was in about 5 different outfits. The last outfit was the engineer one I went overseas.
Okay.
But I went from infantry training to truck training. Then I went for that big gun. Marine, I don't hear so good.
Okay. So you had artillery training?
Wow.
Artillery training then?
Yeah. 155 millimeter.
Yeah. Those are big guns. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason I don't hear so good.
Okay. Now, do you remember where you did the artillery training?
At Camp Louisiana.
Okay, that's in Louisiana. All right. Okay.
And then from there, they sent us down to Camp South, at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. Then we took engineer training.
All right. Now, with the engineer training, what were they actually teaching you to do?
We had to, like I said, pontoon, you know what a pontoon bridge is? And them infantry foot rafts and things. They teach you how to, in other words, we stayed between the field artillery and the infantry, so like the German, when the put bombs in the highways, and, you know, and mines. Our job was clean out the mines. We had the bridge thing on truck. We put out a bridge. After blow up a bridge, we put our bridge down, let the truck go out till we could get another brick built. Then we take our building up, put back on the truck. You know,
And
that
do it
was our
again.
job.
Right. Okay.
Until I said, till we had to go up for reinforcement.
Right. But that comes later in the story. So
Yeah.
we're going to try to kind of follow things in order. So you're bouncing around a lot in the U.S. from one camp to another and one training assignment to another.
Yeah.
So this would be going on probably through much of 1943. So you're spending better part of a year maybe doing this.
Yeah, because you had 13 weeks. Each place you spent 13 weeks.
Yeah. And you've got about 4 different places. So
Until I was in Mississippi.
right.
So when
Okay. Now
they sent one lieutenant down, when they sent us from Fort Benning, Georgia, I mean for Camp Wilson, Louisiana, to Mississippi, they sent a lieutenant, said he training us to go overseas. So we went through the 13 weeks training. Then when they got take a test, the first sergeant told us to flunk the test. He said if we didn't flunk the test, we were going overseas. So we flunked the test. So that lieutenant left, and they sent another Captain Holton. Well, he looked like he was around 60 years old. So the sergeant said we had to go back over that same test. And he told us we could pass the test because he was too old to go anywhere. So when the test come up, we went over past the test. Then week after we passed the test, they quarantined us. So that means you couldn't go nowhere. So then we asked Sergeant, what's the matter now, Sergeant? He said, I don't know. About another week, they said you're going to Camp Shanks, you know, going to Fort McPherson.
okay.
No, you're going to Camp Shanks, New York.
Yeah. Because that
We
was
just said, now we know where we're going.
yeah. Because that was one of the main places for sending people over,
Yeah.
across to Europe from.
Yeah.
All right. Now, during the time when you're at these different bases, were you always able to move around off base without any trouble? Was it?
Oh yeah, we didn't have no trouble.
Okay.
When we was in Mississippi, they issued us all knives. And they told us, minutes 2 or you 3 stayed together. So MP, the police, the police couldn't arrest us.
Okay.
If there wasn't an MP with him, they didn't have nothing to say to us.
All right.
So they told us, you're going overseas, you may get killed, so don't take nothing off of nobody. That's the order we got from the Army.
All right.
So veteran police didn't mess with us
Okay.
unless MP with them. If an MP with them, they could say something to us.
Right.
But if an MP wasn't with them,
But if anybody was going to arrest you, it would have to be the MP.
right.
Right. Okay. So, okay, they worked that out better than maybe most people think they did. Okay.
Well, I hear a lot of people said things went on in the Army I don't know nothing about.
Yeah. Well, you know, the idea here is we want to know what you saw and what you did and what you remember. So that's good. Okay. Now, so they send you now to Camp Shanks, New York. Now, what unit are you with now?
1697, Engineer Comeback Battalion.
Okay. So you now are with your engineer battalion, and you've been training with them in Mississippi, and now you're moving as a group. Okay. What kind of ship did they put you on? Was it just a regular transport or an ocean
It
liner?
was a USS Bliss.
Okay. Well,
I ain't got the picture, but
well, was it a really big ship?
oh yeah, it was a real big one.
Okay. Okay. Did you have? Was it just your battalion on that ship?
Oh no, there were thousands.
Okay. So it's either a big Army transport or a converted ocean liner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big ship. Now,
You got the picture of the ship on your phone?
I I don't, but I can find it.
Okay.
Okay.
Then they showed
In the
it.
meantime, okay, so when your ship sailed, were you in a convoy or were you by yourself?
No, the whole outfit.
No, but was the ship with a lot of other ships?
No, well, it was far as I could see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said when you get on the ship's so big,
Yeah.
you know, but when we got, after we left the dock,
Mm-hmm.
see, they let us come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
I could see 2 other ships, like
Okay.
a convoy, but
Right.
I don't know how many.
Yeah, but that would be part of a convoy because you wouldn't see that many of them at once. But
No.
but if there were other ships there, then you have an
Yeah.
escort. Okay. Do you remember what the weather was like when you went across the ocean?
Well, the weather was good.
Okay.
You know, if you could say on the water, the wave flowing.
Okay.
If you could say it's good, but it wasn't raining or nothing.
All right. Do you know what time of year it was when you went over? Was it when you got over to England? Was it warm or cold or?
Well, it was kind of cold.
Okay.
You have cold days, and I would say it was in the fall of the year.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Now, when you were crossing the ocean, did you ever have any? Okay, that's like a victory ship or something. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do you have any U-boat scares?
Yeah, they had a lot of. Because the ship we was on, the motor went bad on them, and the other boats went off, and they left
Okay.
about 2 of them little U-boats, and they protected us.
Well,
Because they said one time they come over the ship that the German was trying to torpedo our boat, and them little boats, they were like ducks. They just,
yeah. But those.
and they dropping them ash cans
Right.
off the back.
Okay, so they left a couple of escorts with you, and they
Yeah.
were protecting you against the Germans. All right, so you survived that.
And after they got that motor fixed, what they say, oh, you go by what you hear them say. Then they said, they run it at top knot that we caught back up with it. It took us about a day and something to catch back up with it.
All right, and then do you remember where you landed in Britain? Did you land up in Scotland or did you land in the
In
south?
England.
In England.
Uffcott, England.
Okay, and what happens after you get there? Do you go to a
Well,
camp or?
we had like I guess back in over there, they had them big places like where the rich folks stayed.
Okay, so a big estate of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said 50 miles from London, where the German was dropping them rockets in,
Yeah.
so we could, you know, they said we was 50 miles from there. I didn't go, some of the soldiers went, but I didn't because the German was dropping some of them rockets in London. So.
Okay, so now you're getting into 1944 because that's when they're sending the buzz bombs in and all of that. Okay, now did you? And so what was your unit doing at this place where you were staying? Were you training more or just sitting around?
Most of we were sitting around. Well, we were doing little, but you know, most of it just hanging around.
Okay, and then did you get to go into any of the towns in the area or go to a pub or something like that?
I said I didn't,
Yeah.
but some of the soldiers said.
Okay.
They said we were 50 miles, we was in Uffcott, England, and they said it was 50 miles from there to London. Some of the soldiers went, I didn't,
Okay,
because I said they were dropping them.
right.
Right.
Okay, but did you go into the local town? Did you go into Uffcorn or?
Well, over there ain't no time.
Okay,
They have a little here what they call a pub,
right.
maybe one here, so it wasn't no town, nothing like that. That's a village. That's over there, what you call a village.
Right. Okay. So not a lot going on there.
No.
Okay. Now, was it just your battalion that was on that base, or were
Right.
there? Okay.
That's our outfit.
All right. And within that battalion, did you have a particular job, or did you just do whatever they wanted?
See, at the time I was a corporal, so you had to go on guard, you know, but you didn't we didn't do no kind of work,
Okay.
but you had to stand guard. Well, I didn't stand guard, but I had to put people on guard, stuff
Right.
like that.
Okay. And so then but if the unit is actually doing engineer work, if they're building a bridge, for instance.
That's after we went into Germany.
Right.
After they said the Germans broke through the American line, then they asked for reinforcement. Then they sent us into Germany.
Okay. Now.
Then we started to build,
Yeah, then you go to work. Okay. Now, probably, given the timing of things here, the big German breakthrough happened in December of 1944, and that was the start of the Battle of the Bulge. And the Americans, in fact, sent a whole bunch of engineer battalions in there as reinforcements. Okay. Now, do you remember, how did they get you across the English Channel?
through the ship.
Okay.
And we went right where a lot of other ships were sunk. They said a lot of the soldiers were still in them boats. Was sunk. We'd go through. You pass that till they shipped across the channel.
Okay. And then did you go into a harbor and get off on a dock, or did you land on a beach somewhere?
On the beach.
Okay. Because they were still using Omaha Beach and places like that still. Okay. And then when you land there, then how do they move you forward?
So we had our own trucks and things.
Okay.
We moved.
So you just drove?
Yeah. They got the orders and we moved. I don't know what kind of orders they got us.
All right.
But our captain was Emma Holton. So wherever he said we went, that's where we went.
Okay. All right.
See, we didn't just one company. We were 1697 Engineer Combat Battalion. So we went by ourselves.
Okay.
Wherever they sent us, we didn't send with no old thing.
Right. So they split the battalion has several different companies in it.
Right.
So your company with your captain kind of goes by itself.
Yeah, a company.
Right. Okay. And so you drive across France, and probably did you stay in France, or did you go into Belgium, or did you go straight to Germany, or do you not really know?
When we left Uffcott, after we crossed the English Channel, I don't know what we
Right.
went.
You wouldn't know where you were. Okay. Do you have an idea of how long it was before you started to build bridges, or how long it took you to get toward the
Well,
front?
I said, after they got reinforcement, well, I guess about maybe a week or
Okay.
8 or 10 days, I don't think it.
All right.
Then we fell back and started doing it.
Okay. So probably what is happening is you're being moved up toward where they think the front line might be, and if the Germans came that way, you would have had to fight them.
Yeah.
So when you first went forward, did you have to dig foxholes or anything like that, or did you just camp?
They showed it on, but we didn't dig no far.
All right.
I said that in the army, but we didn't dig. I guess some soldiers did, but
Sure.
we didn't.
Okay.
No.
So they weren't so the Germans weren't getting that close to you then.
No, see, we went and relieved these guys so these guys could go up to the
Right.
front.
Okay.
So we were close enough. We see the flashes from them guns
Okay.
and things, but
All right.
we weren't exactly on the front. We left these guys so they could go up to
Right.
the fight till they could get reinforcement, and we fell back.
Yeah. Okay. But now they've got you over there, and now you start building. Now, did you spend most of your time building bridges, or were you doing mine clearing, or?
That's what we did. We cleared mines out of the street. We built bridges and cleared mines. That was our job.
Okay.
So the quartermaster could bring the ammunition stuff through. We keep the road clear.
All right.
Everything.
Now, when your unit was building bridges, what were you doing?
I said I was a guard. I had a 30 cal machine gun.
Okay.
I had a 30 cal. The guy in first platoon had a 50 cal machine gun mounted on the back of the truck. I was in the second platoon. I had a 30 cal machine gun with a tripod.
Yeah. And so you were protecting
The guys were
the engineers. Yeah. Okay. So you didn't have to do the heavy lifting.
no, not me.
Yeah. All
I
right.
wasn't big enough. I was very small back in them days.
Okay. Now, as you're doing this work, did you look around much at the countryside or see anything of the people, or?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you just,
I couldn't speak the language, so
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't.
so you just did. Now,
A lot of soldiers did, but me, I just didn't.
okay, you just might. Okay, now you had mentioned before that you had been married, your wife had died, but you still had children at home at this time.
Yeah, I had one kid,
Okay,
and she was just on 3 years old.
and who was she living with?
Well, I left her with my mother,
Mm-hmm.
but when I was going overseas, I got a letter from my sister. She said she had her.
Okay,
So,
all right. Now, did you write home very much, or did they write to you, or did you just go away?
they mostly wrote to me when they want something.
Okay. All right. So now you're over in Europe, you're building bridges. Now, when you started doing this, was this during the winter? Was it cold?
Yeah, I would say when it was in England, yeah, it was cold.
Yeah. Okay. And then, did you move around a lot? Were you moving forward regularly, or did you stay in one area for a long time?
We stay in one little village
Mm-hmm.
till we get the work done. Then we move up. We always moved up.
Okay. So you keep moving forward and
Yeah.
advancing. All right. And did they tell you much of anything about what was happening in the war, or did you just?
Well, I said, man,
Yeah.
not me. I didn't
Okay.
pay that much.
So your captain might have known something.
Yeah, they know everything.
Okay.
The sergeant and thing, but
All right. Now, were you normally? Did you sleep in tents or in houses or on the ground?
on the ground, you had your shelter halves.
Mm-hmm.
I had a half a shelter, the other half, and you put them together and just,
Make a little pup tent.
uh,
All right.
or sleep on the truck. Just depending upon you where you want to sleep, but you didn't sleep in no house.
Okay. So you didn't get to borrow somebody's house and go sleep there, because some guys did. Okay.
Well, the captain's thing might have, but we didn't.
Okay. Now, while you were doing this work, did you ever get hit by enemy artillery or aircraft, or ever see any of that?
Yeah, we was guarding a ammunition dump. At least when we first got into Germany, well, they had the little blackout light on your truck, and they told everybody, don't turn your light on, just use the little blackout light. So we traveled mostly at night when we were going up to the front. And one night, the guy turned his light on, and German dropped one. They said it was just like a personnel bomb. It hit close enough to the truck to turn the truck on one side.
Okay. So maybe German artillery that shot at you or something.
And then I said, after we got into Germany, like we was camped here, and there was the woods, and on the other side, every night at 12 o'clock, there's a guy would come over. When you get to them, we know the different sounds from every plane.
Right.
We know when it was an American plane and when it was a German plane. One night we got the truck stalled, and he come over here at night, so we call him Bed Check Charlie. If he got a light on, he would turn the machine gun on, shoot whatever. So every night we'd be out, we headed the plane, we say, here come Bed Check Charlie, so we turned out all the lights. So one night we got a truck stalled, and we was out there trying to get the truck stalled, and he come over and he sprayed a machine gun on the truck. So,
Did he hit the truck?
well, he didn't, he shot the truck, but he didn't, couldn't keep it from running. He just,
Okay.
So they finally, the Empress, now we was on one side of the woods, and but we didn't know that, but he know every night at 12 o'clock he'd
Right.
come over.
Right.
So they finally caught him. I guess the whole outfit went off and left him, and he said he run out of pencils. I guess he couldn't run his plane no more, and they got him over there on the ground.
All right. So eventually that's not a problem. All right.
But every night, we had a little plane, so we named it Bed Check Charlie. You go see you in the bed.
Okay. All right. Now you're kind of working your way. Now, do you remember crossing over the Rhine River into Germany? Really big river.
Yeah, I said when we crossed over, that a lot of boats were sunk, and they said that a lot of soldiers were still in.
Well, I think that was the English Channel. But I mean,
Yeah.
but then when you go into Germany, the Rhine River is a major river that's inside Germany, and that was a major obstacle, and we crossed it in March of 1945. But do you remember crossing any really big rivers after you were in Europe, or not?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
The English Channel was the biggest I have known.
Yeah. And then as you're getting into the springtime and the Allied armies are moving forward, you're going to move forward, you'll build more bridges. Did the scenery change at all?
Yeah, so a lot of time I went to, I remember we was in Stuttgart, Germany, and we were building bridges in Stuttgart, Germany. One place we was in Germany, and we was in this little village, and we had to go through another little village to build a bridge. Even when you come back, they said, but a squad of German prisoners was hid in the building we went through, the little village we went through. So when they got back, on our way back, they called the infantry in to wipe out the squad of Germans. So we went through, I guess they was hid in the building, but when we come back, we had to wait till they get through fighting before we could.
Okay. All right. Now, when you went to Stuttgart, could you see damage from the bombing?
Oh, yeah. It was pitiful. People, kids on the road asking for something to eat. They sleeping in them old buildings. It was pitiful.
Okay.
See kids and people around begging for something to eat.
Okay.
So we give them a lot of our rations. See, we had sea rations.
So that was mostly those canned goods and
Yeah.
dry things, and yeah.
You had K ration, you had C ration.
Right.
Sometimes you get enough, so they give us a box for your breakfast, your dinner, your supper. You carried with you. But every night they would, as I said, a lot of times kids come by to ask what in Germany is for essence.
Yeah.
So a lot of times soldiers just give them something to eat.
Right. Okay. Now, did you also go through villages that were still in good shape that hadn't been bombed? Okay. So you mostly saw areas that had been hit pretty hard. All right. And do you remember seeing any German prisoners of war?
Yeah,
Okay. What did they look like?
just ordinary white folks.
Did you notice if some of them were kind of older or younger, or you didn't?
Mostly younger.
Okay.
I say after the war, after Germany surrendered, they sent us to Nancy, France.
Okay.
And we stayed there about 10 or 15 days. Then they sent us to Le Havre, France. Then they give us 100 German prisoners to put in a water line.
So you're going back. You're doing more engineering work now.
Yeah.
But you have German prisoners to work for you as laborers. All right. What impression did you have of them?
Oh, just ordinary people to
Okay.
me.
How did they behave?
They just did whatever you told them to do.
Okay.
Well, they didn't raise no sand or nothing. A lot of them was just like us. I was glad it was over.
Yeah. All right. And then at that point, now, do you see more of the French people now?
I said when we was with Nancy, France, after we left Nancy, France, but tell you the truth, I didn't tell French from nobody else.
Okay. But I mean, were there a lot of civilians around now?
Oh, yeah.
Now, were the French doing any better than the Germans, or were they hungry too?
No, they had their own country, I guess. They seemed to be doing.
Okay. So there was a difference there.
Yeah. There was different race of people. See, over there, they call French Africa. in Nancy, France. They call French Africa. When they come to the state, they call Morocco. I could never tell the difference. So we had some in our outfit they call Morocco in the state. We get in France, they call French Africa.
Well, I mean, the French had colonies in Africa, and so, including in North Africa, including Morocco, so.
Yeah, well, we was in Nancy, France.
Right,
So,
right. But they just think of you like the people from their colonies. That's all, something like that. Anyway, so that was a little different. Okay. Now, you said then you got assigned Germans to help you work, and then do you have a sense of how long you stayed in France?
well, no, I said we was there. We're pretty, oh, okay. When did Japanese surrender?
That's in August of 1945. Yeah.
When Japanese surrendered, we was a day from seeing the Pearl Harbor. Seeing the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
We was on our way back to
So
the
they
state.
loaded it. They took you to Le Havre. You worked for a while. They put you on a boat. So now it's summer of '45. You're on your way home. Okay. Now, what happens when you land in New York?
They sent us to Fort McPherson, Georgia,
Okay.
and we stayed there. They give us a 30-day leave, and then they said give you a 3-month jungle training. Then we was supposed to go to Japan. That's what we left. That was our assignment.
Right.
But I said the Japanese surrendered, so we didn't have to do.
Okay.
We got a 30-day leave, then we went back to the camp. Then they sent us down to I got the discharge was the name of the camp in Georgia.
Okay.
With Fort Benning on one side, camps.
Okay. But somewhere down in that area, but you're in Georgia, and
Alexander, Louisiana.
okay.
Fort Benning, Georgia on one side of town, and Camp Cleveland on the other side of town.
Well, at Fort Benning, I think, is kind of close to the border between Georgia and Alabama.
Well,
And
that's
there's
it.
a river in between.
And,
Anyway, okay. But basically you get discharged?
huh?
You get a leave home, you come back, and then you get a discharge? Okay. So then you probably are getting out of the Army in 1945. After
I
the...
think I got out in 1946, wasn't it?
Okay. Well, the war ends in August of 45, and you were almost back to the States. And then, if you're not spending a lot of time anyplace after that...
Well, I'll show you. They sent us to, when we got back to the state, they sent us to Camp Shanks, no, they sent us to,
You went to Fort McPherson.
Georgia,
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay.
And we stayed there. We got a 30-day leave.
Right.
We went back to camp, then we hung around camp there. I don't know exactly how long. Then they sent us down to Louisiana.
And how long did you stay in Louisiana?
Just about all winter.
Oh, okay. That would take you to 46. So that's where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you were in Louisiana, did you have any work to do, or are you just sitting around?
After we come back, we'll see. After we got back to camp, you just sit around.
Okay. Now, when you had that 30-day leave, what did you do?
I went home,
Okay.
see my kids.
All right.
That was my biggest thing. Most of my mind was on my kids. You know,
Right. Okay. And did she know who you were when you got home?
oh yeah,
Okay, good.
she
Okay.
knows who I was.
All right. So after you got your discharge then, what did you do?
After I got my discharge, I went up. They didn't pay. See, when I got discharged, they didn't give me all my money. And then they asked me to stay around Alamo. They owed me $1,040. And they asked me to stay around Alamo. They sent me $100 a month. So I got there. Then they had to send the GI Bill. So I signed up to go to school under the GI Bill until I got all my money. Then I left and come to Ben Harbor, Michigan.
Okay. So when you said you went to school, were you finishing high school
No,
or getting a GED? or-
agriculture school.
Okay, agriculture. Okay, so vocational school.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then, how did you wind up going to Benton Harbor?
I went there to gather fruit, but
Okay.
after I got there, I got on a asparagus farm, cut asparagus.
Yeah.
I didn't like that job, so a couple of days that I quit. Then there was a guy there. He had a kind of like he cut mowed lawn, and he killed chicken for the restaurant. So he asked me would I like to work with him. And he gave me 90 cents an hour, and he gave me a place to stay, and just live in the house with him. He had a wife and 2 kids. And I told him I'd rather do that than cut asparagus. So I went to live with him. So I went and lived with him and his wife. Every other night, I stay home and keep the little girls, and him and his wife go to the show. Next night, I get the car, I go where I want to go.
Okay. Did you have your daughter with you, or was she still with your sister? Or?
So they wouldn't let me have. That's the reason I didn't stay around home, because see, she was about 6 years old then, and she knowed me, but it'd been 3 years, so. And I think 2 families can't raise no kids. Because if she asked me to do something, I said, yeah, but they may say no, see. And I couldn't hurt her like that, so I just told them, they just take her wherever I'm at. If she needs something, just let me know. I wasn't there to try to, they done raised her that far, so. And so I just left, come on to Ben Harbor, Michigan. I said, then after I got there, then after I started staying with him, then we were working the flower yard for people. Then one lady asked me about trimming trees for the flower yard. So I didn't sell nothing. After we left, which he called me T. And he said, if we know that job, we can make money. And I told him, well, I know how to trim trees. So we went around, bought all the equipment. He bought all the equipment. Then from that on, we started trimming trees all summer. And when the snow started falling, then I left and went to Ben Harbor. I went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. And what did you do in Cleveland?
I run an freight elevator at a paper company.
Okay. Now, did you eventually settle down into a job, a long-term job?
Oh, well.
Or did you just bounce around a lot?
I did bounce because I worked there all winter. Spring come, my mama asked me to come back down. I had a baby brother. He got himself in debt, something and shit. Well, I said it like this. I'm a little odd kid in the family. You know what that is. My mama, bless her soul, if she wants something dead, I'm the 5th child. If she wants something dead, she'll call me. But when I get it done, she want me to move out. That's the way I was raised. There 10 of us kids, but I was just an oddball in the crowd.
All right. Now, did you eventually get married again?
Oh, yeah, I got married. I said I went back home. I stayed there 3 years till I got him out of debt. Then I come to Chicago. Then I got married in Chicago.
And what were you doing in Chicago?
I worked at the paper company. I worked there 18 years.
Okay.
Then I left there and come over here. And I worked at Ottawa Steel 18 years before I retired.
All right. Now, when you look back at the time you spent in the Army, do you think you learned anything from that, or if it did you any good later on?
What do you mean by that?
Well, how do you think your time in the Army affected you?
Well, I guess, I don't know if it affect me any kind of ways. It's just, cause I said most of my mind was in just getting back to my kids, you know, and whatever I had to do, I just did it, you know. So I don't think it hurted me no way. Taught me to be more ornery or what. Most of the time, I can't how to explain to nobody because I said,
All right. So you were the same man when you came out that you were when you went in.
You know, because I said most of it, I don't know whether many people can understand it or not, but I said, you go off and leave a 3-year-old child, and she had never spit to nobody but you, her, and her mother, and you go off and leave her. People don't know how that hurt. So my mind wasn't just, I said, when I first went to Army, I did everything because I thought I'd get a dishonorable discharge, but after I found out they weren't going to discharge me, I just did what I was supposed to do.
Right. Okay. Did you learn anything about different kinds of work or equipment that helped you later, or did you already have all the skills you needed?
That's what I said. I didn't do nothing out the Army that I mean, I didn't do nothing in the Army.
That's right. You had the machine gun. Yeah.
Except drive a truck. When I went to the Army, I didn't know what a spark plug was, but they sent me to schools, teach you all about how to maintain a truck and everything.
All right.
And the big gun, 155 mil. I didn't know nothing about them. But I say after I got out the Army, then only thing I worked in was on cars. See, I went to mechanic school, and when I finished mechanic school out there, Leonard and Ball, you know, they used to have it out there. I finished mechanic school out there. So I worked part-time, you know, work on cars. Also, I worked at Ottawa Steel, but as a hobby, I worked on cars too.
Okay.
So I went to welding school. In other words, everything that Uncle Sam paid me to go to school with, I did it.
Okay. So maybe that's the one thing you got out of the Army.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam paid for some school.
I finished barber school. I skipped agriculture school. I finished welding school. I finished mechanic school. As long as Uncle Sam paid me, I take it.
All right. Sounds
But also, I worked. Like I said, I worked at Ottawa Steel. I don't know what you know it about. I used to be out here on, out here on Alp. What used to be right here? You know what Ottawa Steel used to be right here?
no, I don't. But
Alpine? Alpine?
Yeah. Let me see.
was it close to Grand Rapids, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right on the line. Wait.
All right. Well,
I kind of think that street. It's right where Morgan was Comstock Park and Grand Rapids John.
okay. That would be up on near Alpine Avenue, that area, right? Okay. Very good.
Used to be Ottawa Steel. Half the plant was in Grand Rapids, half the plant was in
Walker,
So I worked
Comstock
there.
Park. Yeah. Okay.
I worked there 16 years before I retired.
All right. Well, it makes for a very good story. So thank you for taking the time to share it today.
And so I said,